We want to approve 2 families, 2 in Pender County for that grant money. And I was told the limit is $1,600. We assist them with utilities, security deposit, and rental assistance. You can split it up, however, but the max is $1,600 per family. We've only assisted 2 families since the start. And I've been with the housing authority 18 and a half years. I did not apply for it. I lost my home in the storm. I'm just looking for other resources. But there are families coming in, being denied. When I take it to my supervisor, she's like, we need to redirect them to FEMA. I said, they had no insurance. Like me, no flood insurance. FEMA denied me twice. I appealed the 3rd time. Still waiting to hear from that. I mean, what do you do?
Okay, Golden Leaf Foundation funding. Back during the storm, the governor set aside some monies that was going to go to short-term recovery efforts, right? And so they put the notification online for folks to apply for. Nonprofits and others could really apply for the funding. The first requirement is to have a track record of being able to handle funding. That's the first thing. The second thing is when you apply, each individual entity, right, must know their capabilities. So when they apply, Golden Leaf, historically speaking, has been an organization that's very hard to get money from. That's the first thing. They are really closed fist on how do I speak this? I guess I'll say it again. Historically speaking, it's maybe kind of tough to get Golden Leaf funding.
They already gave us
Okay. All right. Okay. So that'll start something I can't finish. I will say this. So when you apply as a nonprofit, because those are questions I cannot answer because I don't work for Golden Leaf. But what ends up happening is the funding is you apply for it as an organization. So you must be able to submit the grant for what it is that you are going to do the service for. It could be anything from housing repair. So what you do is you typically stay in your lane of expertise. Like, for example, our organization has some Golden Leaf funding, and what we got it for is just basic giving out household goods and those kinds of things. So when you apply for the funding, right, you have to give a scope of work basically of what you can provide. They typically come in after you get the funding, they tell you how much you can get. And then they typically come in and they tell you, they look at what you say you were gonna do, how many families you're gonna serve, right? Whatever county it's gonna be. They give you just enough money, right? Again, the goal is immediate dispersion of those funds. So that's kind of what it is. So I would say this to you, each organization has their own set of rules in terms of how they do the funding. And it won't hurt you to speak to the administrator of that grant. Transparency means a lot to Golden Leaf as well. So if you have a question, there are grant managers, right, over the grants. And so you could always speak to the grant managers. And if that organization is doing things the right way, they won't mind you talking to them.
Curtis, we have a question here.
I have a cousin that lives in Lenoir County. She lost her roof with Matthews. And I understand there is some grant money. And she has been trying to follow that paper trail. And I think she's done it so much that she has gotten on management, somebody's nerve. So she has made enough jewelry at $5 a shot that she's gonna put her own roof on. I think she had went down to the people that orchestrate or disperse this money, and I think it got so bad they told her she was not the only one in Kinston with a bad roof, and I mean it's bad. So anyway, she told them that she wasn't trying to be like a beggar. She just felt all of her stuff was being destroyed. Mold was in the house. She has nowhere else to go. So she was trying to be patient, and they told her, she asked her, could she see some of the places that had been done? Well, there's never a trail of these houses that has been repaired so she can just talk to. It's like, she said, the money's all going now, so she don't know what to do. And I'm just saying, how do we fix that problem? And you know what goes on your head when this happens. It goes to certain people and don't go to others. So you need to repair that. How do we do that as a community, as a state, as an American, whatever?
And this is where you go to your long-term recovery group. That's why I advocated for people to file your FEMA claim. You can call the 4-letter word, but that claim number allows you access to a lot of other things later, whether they deny you or not, because then when you go to that long-term recovery group, they will find out that you have that claim, you're eligible for the disaster relief funding. You're eligible for other things. There was free designer clothing given away here, and they asked people just to bring your FEMA number with you the other day. And so then she will also have a case manager. Someone like this young lady down there, she should have one, given that she was a Matthew victim. Okay? That person is supposed to work till she gets to a safe, secure, and sanitary place. If not, there's an issue. So someone's getting paid to do it, and she's on someone's list.
I'm Bill Negron. I'm from Brunswick County. And first of all, I want to thank Deborah Maxwell for being a friend to Brunswick County. I know she's in New Hanover County, but she has been very supportive of us. I don't have a question. I have what I think is an answer. I wanted to talk a little bit about the long-term recovery group in my county, which is the Brunswick County BOAD. Volunteers organizing and assisting in disaster relief. And the reason why I believe so wholeheartedly in that is because I'm a person who's a unifier. I believe in unification. What kills us is isolation. And by the way, because I'm in the Methodist Church, we believe that isolation is the precursor to hell. Okay? Because when you're alone and you're suffering, you're in hell. But when you're together, you're a community. So what Brunswick County BOAD did, when FEMA tapped me to do it, and I know FEMA seems like a dirty word, but listen, what we can do is hold people accountable. And the BOAD is the thing that will do that. With the Brunswick County BOAD, we will be the first point of contact for all materials and monies. And the Brunswick County BOAD is made up of the churches and the agencies and organizations. That means you and I. And hopefully what will happen, we talk about Golden Leaf, or the people on Golden Leaf are in the BOAD. How do we distribute it? The BOAD will decide. The people will decide. You know, we have Habitat, we have UMCOR, we have Warm. And what I did was, because I'm a community person, I went to every church in Hamlet that I knew, whether they were affiliated or unaffiliated, whether they were non-denominational. I said, you need to be part of the BOAD. You need to be part of the solution, because what people need is empowerment. They need to feel like they have a voice in that situation. So you know what? There's a BOAD in every county in North Carolina, and they will find the solution and answers. Hope for North Carolina is in the BOAD. They go out and find out information for folks. You know, there's all kinds of organizations that are attached to BOAD, and if you can attach yourself to a BOAD, I promise you, if you're empowered through that BOAD, you will find answers and you will be an answer. And we will be the first in the line when FEMA comes and we tell them, hey FEMA, we know our neighborhood better than you, step back. We will take it from here. We will be in the EOC, the Sheriff's Department, and then will come to us and say, what do you have? Because we need this. That's what a BOAD does. Volunteers organize assisting in disaster. The other thing that a BOAD does is a thing called mitigation. In mitigation, we say, what did we do wrong in the last hurricane? And what do we need to do better for the next disaster? Because we're not just about hurricanes, it's about disaster. It could be water, it could be fire. We have a nuclear power plant where we are. It could be that. But we need to be the ones, you know, the Bible says that a child that doesn't harvest during the summer is a disaster. We need to be the ones who are pre-thinking what's going to happen next, because only we know our neighborhoods. We know the flood areas. We know where things are happening. We know where the cracks are. We know the people who are ignored. We know the poor. We know everyone out there who's in flood areas, and we will be the ones who say to the county and to the FEMA and everyone, hey, we know what's what. So join a VOAD, quick.
I just wanted to say that not every county has a long-term recovery group. Long-term recovery groups were mandated under the Robert T. Stafford Act when Obama was in presidency. The reason a long-term recovery group is set up is so that the county can get hazard mitigation funding. If they are not set up, then the state government kind of frowns upon that, hoping that, like he said, organizations will come together. North Carolina VOAD is North Carolina Voluntary Organizations Active in Disaster. There are two different types of LTRGs. When Shalonda and I first started going to long-term recovery groups in Robeson County, we had every public agency there. DSS was there, Red Cross was there, the Baptist men were there, you know, the guys with the yellow shirt, the Methodists were there, everybody was there. But what started happening is when people of my color started coming in and we were saying, we need this, we want that, what program is this, then certain other agencies started dying out and dispersing out. These agencies are also are allowed to get their own money, like DSS, the school system. And so when they segregate themselves and get the money, and we're still going to meetings and they're saying, oh, your DSS has money for lights. Your DSS should have money for rent and utilities and rent deposit. And then we get the backlash of, no, you don't qualify. DSS is what's considered a screened out process. If you've been there for food stamps, this, and this, you have this, and this, you don't qualify. That's not long-term recovery and that's not case management. We screen you in. To me, I don't care if you have one step missing off of your ramp at your house. If it happened from the flood, you deserve to be recovered whole in the situation. There's a difference between a community long-term recovery group and a government long-term recovery group. If you do not go to these long-term recovery groups, and they set them up at a very inconvenient time. Thank God I didn't have a job, because people that were there that work for the government, they take their 1 o'clock lunch, they come to the 2 o'clock meeting. Come on, we have family members that are working in factories, working at the hospital, the schools, they can't come to 2 o'clock meetings. So we started having our own long-term recovery group meetings at a church, a Lutheran church. And we would come and say, this is what we're gonna say tomorrow at the other long-term recovery group meeting. When they realized that, that's when the money struggle started coming in. That's when the information started getting quiet. Oh, well, by law, we're supposed to put it on the internet and advertise it. If you have a community that already doesn't have broadband, computers, and literacy issues, and everybody doesn't have a computer, you did fulfill your obligation, but it didn't exactly help us. So they know how to finagle it. You have the power, and that's what I'm saying. You have to say, look, they tried to name our long-term recovery group after a white guy that drowned. And the pastor of the Lutheran was white, and he stood up and said, I don't think so. It's not going down like that. And from that day forward, it has been a dissemination. The North Carolina Realtors Association, they had an application out, you could receive up to $1,500. Yeah. When some of us that were going to the meetings applied for this money and they knew our faces, and the North Carolina Realtors representatives was there, not any of us and our group got the money. Okay, so now we know what's going on. And like I tell Courtney, you have to be community active. You have to be community long-term recovery group. You tell people what you want. It has to be articulated. It has to be planned. You have to be FEMA partner. I'm telling you, you're gonna see the FEMA people again, because once you are FEMA partner, you know when people come and give free stuff, it's free stuff to us. They're billing 3 or 4 times over. So if it's 80 cents a hot dog that he had to pay, and he drove from Nebraska and he fed 2,000 people, he just tells the government, oh, we're gonna charge $2.50. FEMA takes up 80% of our bill. And then the county takes up 20%. So while you all are out there saying, we need comforters, we need Pampers, we need this, they're like, yeah, bring it on in, bring it on in, bring it on in. Our county, it has to absorb 20% of their bill. And so you have to get to the chase of it. Come on, everybody out here, you know you have been where you didn't think you was gonna make it and you didn't have, but you made it over. You don't have to give me 3 meals a day. They wanted to feed us 3 meals a day in the hotel. And I stood up and I said, no, wherever that money is going for lunch, you need to be giving the elderly people, the disabled people, apartments. Allocate the money somewhere else. We can't always figure out it in a microwave concept. You know, thing is done and we're cured. It's not gonna happen like that. And that money goes very, very fast. It goes fast. So you have to go to your long-term recovery groups. And like he said, VOAD, I was on the phone on the email this morning at 6 o'clock talking to my VOAD member. And when I ask him a question, he answers me back. He answers me back because they make business and they do have an accountability measure. But they can only help who's there in the room at the table. Delegate a representative. You don't have to be great to start, but you do gotta start to be great. Figure it out as you go on. That's what we did. We were going through muddy water and didn't realize there was fecal matter in there. We just knew we was wanting to get people out their houses, thank God. So you have to be involved and go to your long-term recovery meetings at your North Carolina Emergency Management Director. That's gonna be your best friend.
All right, we're gonna do a quick wrap up with each panelist. We're gonna talk 1 minute. Now, y'all, 1 minute for each panelist. No.
This has been a very educational time for me. So like I stated earlier, both counties, we didn't suffer the disasters that you guys, Pender and Columbus County and all, but it has motivated me to want to do even more. And I thank God that we have the opportunity to do that. Just like Courtney stated, we're one of the one of the distribution centers now. Warehousing supplies and things that that you might need. So feel free to give us a call, contact Courtney, and we're more than happy to accommodate you.
I thank all of you for being here. Please remember to go to your local meetings. County commissioners, VOAD, long-term recovery group, whatever name it may be, because if you do not come to the table, you're on the menu. It's just that simple. I thank Brunswick for having the foresight and having their meetings in the evening, because most counties do meet at 2 o'clock like nobody got a job to go to. So that's not accommodating for people. So please remember that and be the constant ally. And if you live in Bladen, Brunswick, or Hanover, Pender County Salvation Army got $100,000. They want to help you with your rent and your utilities. Now the word is out.
Just echo what the rest of the panel said. I'm just so thankful to be here today. And a lot of times we don't thank those people who are closest to us that really help us do the work that we do. So I'd just like to thank the folks in my circle, and you know who you are. And when this thing started off, there was a lot of outpouring of support coming from near and far. Just thankful that folks feel a connection with you, that they trust the work that you're doing, and they support the work that you're going to continue to do. We are small, sometimes in number, and in Raleigh, they don't know us like they know certain people, so they have to get to know us, they have to get to trust us. But the biggest thing about trust is this. If you are maybe just a little leery, right, of the process, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because folks will be accountable to you if you ask questions. So again, just thank all those folks who've reached out to Men and Women United for Youth and Families and in our network just to offer support and help. And we just thank you, Barry.
Yes, I just say let's stay together. Let's keep it together. The way that we're going to conquer and the way that we're going to move forward is we need to stay together. We're going to try to move forward. Hopefully, we know that this is not the last hurricane we're going to have. And the way things are and the way people are dealing with the environment, we're going to have a lot more. And the thing is that, you know, we need mutual aid centers. We need things, but if you're at the table now, then things will fit you in case there is another disaster. So just let's stay together. We might need to instruct our legislators as to how they best serve us, but let's stay together. Thank you.
Well, I think they said everything that I need to say, but I wanted to say, don't give up. That's the key thing. Do not give up. Keep going. Don't give up. So many times I've heard the stories about people, well, I'm tired of begging, I'm tired of asking, but you know what? Those who don't ask don't get it. So don't give up.
In terms of like another reason to give your story to FEMA, even if you don't think it's gonna go anywhere, if you don't speak up for yourself, nobody else is going to. And that we should be working to, off what Adrian said, you know, there's a disaster business and we should be working to make community disaster response a business. And we have to stay together and we have to talk about it. And yeah, that's it. Sorry. The other thing is that you have to vote and you have to go. Yeah, I don't know if this is standard or not, but you have to vote. And you have to hold accountable at the local, state, and federal level the people who are making the decisions that keep you from getting the money you need. And also run for office. Step up and get your own voice and go there and be the voice for your community.
My friend Will over there, raise your hand, Will. He's for the North Carolina Justice Center. He's gonna nod his head when I say, I'm about the money. And if I know that disaster is about the money, and if there's anybody in here that can provide a service or sell a product, then we need to come together and be educated on mobilizing faith-based organizations, nonprofits, and for-profits in preparing for disasters and becoming contractors. One of the pillars of recovery is employment when disaster strikes. We thank everybody for coming in and helping us, you know, the strange faces, but we need the money to come back to us to bring back our dignity, to bring back our communities and be able to strive further. So there is a course called Management 405. I think Courtney or somebody will get that information out for us to be able to partner and be able to reinvest those funds back into us. Like I say, third world countries recover better and quicker and stronger than we do. Third world countries. When you go home tonight, let that resonate. Put yourself in a third world country shoe and go how, and then get started.
Rochelle, sorry. Rochelle.
Michelle, yes. So things I'll leave you with, and I think it was being hit on times, is follow the money. And especially follow the federal money that will be coming, CDBG, DR dollars, that's the big bucket money. Follow that money because there are legal obligations tied to that money. There are fair housing obligations that is tied to that money. So understand and know, and if you don't know what the legal obligations are, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to some of the experts, particularly in your area, and we are open and willing to share as much information as possible, because that's what we want to be, as a resource for others on trying to recover. Also, remember or identify those sticks, those legal sticks, and those carrot incentives on how to get your agenda move quicker and move faster. And again, just want to reiterate again, partnerships, both locally and also just broadly as well. We in Houston and Texas, I want you all to know that we are here as a resource. I'm not saying that and I know every place is different, but we have Hurricane Harvey was the big one for us. And we are definitely in the trenches navigating this and have gotten some traction, gotten some wins. And so we want to be able to share out so that other communities can hopefully have some victory. We can all have a stake in the equity that we seek.
Next up is the moderator. Samira, sorry.
Okay, few last words to everybody. Just that, number one, we should really try to define what community is in our own way. It's a bit hard to define that in the States, but we have to be creative and define that in such a way that we are able to know who is within our community, who the vulnerable people are, the children, the elderly, the sick, the pregnant, and always know what kind of living situations they're living under, what kind of resources they have. It's a spirit of openness in the right way, not to be nosy or to know too much about your neighbor, but to know what counts, so that in the matters of disasters or even just daily life, we know how to help each other and have a sense of collective responsibility. And of course, I agree with all the panelists. It's important to keep your eyes on the money. It's important to keep your local leaders, your state leaders, and your federal leaders accountable, and to know all the levels of the agencies that are involved when it comes to disaster response. But more so than anything, it's important for us to have disaster literacy in all of our communities. Because if without knowing what a disaster entails and all the steps that require us to be prepared and to confront these disasters, we're only setting ourselves up for grave disaster and destruction. So let's be prepared and have a spirit of preventativeness in everything. Thank you.
When you go to lunch, we want you all to sit by the county education. All right, so when you go to lunch, we want you to sit in the county, by the county, in the table with the people from your counties that you're from. Can we do that? All right, and then if you are, then we're also gonna have some tabling outside for people to set up, and you can talk to some vendors. We have vegetarian food, and then we have traditional food. Now, if you are not a vegetarian, we do not need you to eat that until the vegetarians have had their experience, okay? And our caterers are Ward's Catering out of Whiteville.